Welcome to Chapter 13, in which we're going to get the fifth and final declension and the third and final degree of adjectives. In this video, we will just do the fifth declension above the black line here. So we'll have an overview, then we'll practice noun-adjective agreement. That will involve formation, and then we'll do some practice. First, an overview. Of course, this is going to be hard because you have to match fifth declension with first through third declension adjectives, and that's going to be difficult. As usual, there are no adjectives with fifth declension. Just like fourth declension, with fifth declension, there are only, as you see on the left, nouns. Now, fifth declension is shown here in pink, which means that it's mostly feminines. In fact, there is only one fifth declension word that I am aware of that is not feminine. And that word is dies, D-A-E, which means day, and which is masculine. In this chapter, you also have meridies, meaning midday or noon. But despite this one exception, in general, you can trust that fifth declension words are universally feminine. Therefore, we're going to be matching it up very frequently with first declension, which is also feminine. Not second, but third also. So let's do first matching it up with first declension over there. All right, so notice the similarity in the endings on either side. Notice the genitive and dative are the same in both cases. However, the nominative and accusative plurals stay the same here in fifth declension, whereas they change in first declension. So it's going to be a little bit easier. Notice also in fifth declension that there is an E in every single form. Every single one of them has an E. And then beyond that is pretty similar to the third declension, if you notice. Abus, M, E in the dative, all these are third declension sounding endings. So fifth declension here is basically just a variation on the third declension. So here's what noun-adjective agreement will look like. Glacies and crassas, thick ices. This is what you're going to be doing here. As you learn your words, you're going to be matching, pulling adjectives up to them in your mind. Happy faces. Of the dark faces. And then notice that glaciae is the same, whether it's of the ice or to or for the ice. Of course, you would say these differently. Of the cold ice or to or for the cold ice. Glaciae frigidae or glaciae frigidae. Facie irata, with an irritated face. So that's what you're going to be doing. We're also going to be matching fifth declension up with third declension, because that too can be any gender, including feminine. So third declension has a lot of feminines. Notice I left off the neuter column in third declension because fifth declension is just feminine, so we're not going to need that neuter column. All right, so, and these are going to be very similar, as I'm sure you can tell. Facies tenuis is like the hardest one. You're going to have to realize that this es could be indeed a flimsy nominative ending, even though it can also be other endings too. Tenuis, glaciae, of the weak ice, versus tenui, glaciae, to or for the weak ice. Facie forti, with the brave face. Faciebus tristibus, with sad faces. Facies graves, serious faces. So hopefully you already know third declension over there on the right, like memorized it, and you could recite that easily just on the spur of the moment. Hopefully you also already know first declension from the previous slide. So if you learn fifth declension now, if you memorize that, then in theory you should be able to, in your mind, do this and join fifth declension up with first or third declension adjectives. So you might want to stop the video now and make an intensive effort to memorize this left chart. Ace A-A-M-A, ace aram abus ace abus. That's how I learned it. I just learned to chant that. Ace A-A-M-A, ace aram abus ace abus. And I would say that in the shower, say that walking to school. Anywhere I've got nothing to do, I would just recite the declensional endings until it is so instantaneous and spontaneous to me that I don't even have to go through that chant anymore, because I just know instantly by a snapshot of photographic memory where everything is in the chart. That's how I learned it. Of course, a better way would be to listen for the unique sound of each of these forms. A, genitive. E, dative. A, ablative. Erum, genitive plural. Ebus, dative or ablative plural. And ace you're already familiar with. So figure out some way to do this. Why? Because you're going to have to do noun-adjective agreement everywhere for the rest of your Latin career using this fifth declension. And so you need to know all the declensions. All right, so here it is in a nice, concise way. These are the things you might have to match up, and you're going to have to do this in a second anyways, blindly. So take a good hard look at it. Stop the video if you need to. You're going to be matching this right column with these two left columns. A lot of this should be really spontaneous in review to you. Should not be hard at all. Fifth declension is certainly easier than fourth, don't you think? So there isn't even a neuter part of fifth declension. So you're going to have to match corresponding rows, and then I want you to consciously note the similarities. Some of these you're already used to. Is, ibus, abus. Those should all sound very similar to you by now. AE, of course. Ace. Look at ace. Ace can be everywhere. So face and faces sound the same and look the same, even if it's in the accusative plural. So notice all those similarities. All right, if you're ready to go, here we go. Recall all the other feminine endings that could go with a. Oh, think. Okay, so that's ablative singular, right? Therefore, now what were my ablative singular endings from first declension and third declension adjectives only? Well, it was E, like forte, not not forte, because remember, third declension adjectives are doubly, trebly I stems. So E and ah. Oh, wait, and then there's another one here. But this won't come till next chapter, because sometimes you can say the feminine noun is a noun, and even in like a noun of a different gender. Even a fourth declension noun. So matching two nouns, that's not a noun-adjective agreement. That's noun-noun agreement. And we're not going to get that till next chapter when we cover ablative absolutes. But in any case, so this is how that would look. Don't only worry about the top line right now. Facie bona with a happy face, or facie forti with a brave face. And just so you know, next chapter, the way you would do this is with joy, death, dread as a face. That's kind of weird, putting two nouns together like that. But anyways, that's next chapter. All right, what about abus? What feminine endings could go with abus? This should be easy for you. Ibus and is, right? With so many sad faces. All right, next one, e. What's all the endings? Uh-oh, this could be more than one case and number, couldn't it? Okay, so is, I would be your genitives, and I would be your datives. Okay, and the meanings, first, the top row is genitive, bottom row is dative. So, of a happy face, of a sad face, or two or four a happy face, or two or four a brave face. So get a good look at these. You should start to make these look similar to you. You should think AE goes with is, and AE goes with E. It should not unsettle you to see those side by side. What about arum? Well, I stem, hope you remembered it, and arum. Multarum rerum and gravium rerum. So of many serious things, or heavy things. Oh boy, ace. Nominative singular, nominative plural, and accusative plural. What were the other endings then in the first and third declensions in those rows? Well, the third declension had its variable ending. That could be all kinds of things depending on how many terminations the adjective is. A, ace and I, and ace and as, right? By the way, race is not one of your vocab words this chapter, but I included it anyways because it has the easiest stem there ever was. The stem of this word is R. So the least thing or a possible thing. And plural would also work, whether nominative or accusative. Exigui res, tiny things. Lastly, M, easy. Cold ice and heavy ice. All right, so hopefully you could do that. If you couldn't, rewind the video and try it again until you can do it from memory, bringing it all together. Now you're going to use it in a story. So remember again that you're going to have to compare similar corresponding rows and notice similarities. There we go. So now this is what you're going to have to do in your mind. When it says face brave on the page, and you know it's an accusative because that's how it's used in the context, then you're going to remember which declension the noun is, then which declension the adjective is. Then you're going to note your case, which is accusative up there. And so you're going to pick out that row and stick them together. Faciem fortem. What about this next one? Of thick ice. Well, what case is this? Genitive, okay. And then the ice is which declension? Fifth declension, right? What about thick? Well, you would have to know thick. Crossus aum is first and second. So hopefully you can start knowing these words off the top of your head. And we said it was at the genitive row. Kakiai krasai, of the thick ice. Of faces brave. And which declension would brave be? Third declension, right. And this is going to be genitive plural, right? Facierum fortium. Oops, I wrote the wrong word there. With many things. Well, with, by, with, from, all those are com, em, and sid space prepositions. So that's the sid space applies to appletives. Race, of course, is fifth declension, and many is first and second. So rebus multis. And with everything, what's this one going to be? Thing, of course, is fifth declension. What about every? Third declension, right. And so re omni, with everything. Isn't this nice? You can say everything now. That's great. Alrighty. Stop the video and make sure you know all these words because these words are going to be used in the next story. Then start it again when you're ready to keep going. Firmament is not a vocab word done here, but it's obvious because it's what it looks like. All right, so this was the only story I could think of that would use just our only two fifth declension vocab words, face and ice. This is sort of appropriate, though. This is from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. And every time you see a blank, I want you to put in the proper Latin word, and they're all going to be fifth declension, obviously. And if you want to know what a cherubim is, here's my rendition of what the cherubim are. There were 4 of them in the Jewish scriptures in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. And they would carry around the throne of God. You see that up on top of them. So you can read about that here in this story. And cherubim are all throughout the Middle East. In fact, they go all the way back to Babylon. Here's 2 Babylonian versions of a cherubim. Greeks would probably look at this and call it a centaur, half man, half horse. But really, these things are the second highest choir of angels. So the hoarseness is just symbolic of like great strength or passion or something like that. So stop the video and try to do these. Of course, to know what case and number to put in here, you have to look to what it is linked to, or maybe how it is used in the sentence. Look at the surrounding circumstances. All right, so stop the video and start it when you're ready to see the answers. And here are the answers. And now we're going to do it again, but this time give me both the adjective and the noun of the two separate declensions. And if you can do this, then you have succeeded in this video. So try it again, stop the video, and start it when you're ready to see the answers. All right, so hopefully that works. See ya in the next video on superlatives. Walete!